Welcome again to another Going Beyond the Scale episode. This is a recap of the Sunday conversation that I had with Olivia. And I just want to share a little bit of this format that I'm working with. And the great thing about doing social media, the great thing about interviewing people is you kind of test what seems to work, what works well for the audience. Both Hannah's interview as well as Olivia's interview was what I would call long format. Both of the conversations were almost an hour. And it's really because we've known each other for a long time. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of things that we share back and forth. So it's more of a conversation where there are times that I'm going to be interviewing somebody and I'm going to be looking to keep that at probably more of a maybe 18 to 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, kind of a little bit tighter overall. But I just want to share with you, for any of you that are out there that are in the art of practicing social media, being a student of it. I've always been a student of it, will continue to be a student of it. I have a lot of mentors that support me in keeping me kind of on track of what makes most sense in delivering value to people. So if there's something that I'm doing or not doing that you think would really give you more value, I am always a yes to hear that from you. So I'm just going to put that out there. Let me know if there's something that you would like to see that I can share. If there's a format that you think makes a difference. So anyway, today, after that hour interview that I had with Olivia on Sunday, what we do is we do a transcript of the entire interview. And part of the reason we do that is because in addition to doing it live and doing a podcast version and doing a YouTube version, and then also doing a blog posting, when I'm going through and re-looking at the copy, because when you do the transcription, it's not always 100% perfect. So you have to kind of make sure that there's not kind of squirrely things in here. As I'm doing that, I'm looking for some of the highlighted messages that I can kind of give you a clip version of that. So that's what I'm doing for right now. And we'll be done in about 5 minutes, probably, for the most part. So there were 4 key takeaways that I had from this hour interview. Trust me, the whole entire interview is worth listening to, worth watching. A lot of great things that Olivia had to share in that particular interview. But the very first thing that she brought up, and it's interesting because when I talked to Hannah on Saturday, they both had the same thing, very first thing that they both talked about separately, because I didn't interview them together, and it was fear of failure. And even what Olivia had said from this whole idea of fear of failure, she said, for me, I think there were so many times, like there was such a fear component to losing weight that I'd never really thought about. And I didn't even know if in the moment at The Biggest Loser that I realized what it was. And both Hannah and Olivia realized that it wasn't losing weight. It was actually this idea of they had so much proof that they probably would fail. They would probably not do well, and they would go home. So here was an opportunity of a lifetime, but what was really always in the background was this idea of failing once again. And whether you're on a reality show or not, I know that what happens for many people is that just becomes a reality where you have the best of intentions, you get excited, you get started, and something happens, life happens, you have a bad day or whatever, and you just give up and you just reinforce the idea that, look, I'm going to fail again. So the fear of failure was an enormous thing that we all faced in the early stages of Biggest Loser. And then as we got more confident, it went away. And then it kind of came back again because we started to fear every way in, because it wasn't the scale, it was the idea that we were going to have to go home. And there was such a camaraderie and community between all of us. So fear seems to run rampant through most conversations I have with most people, and it's not bad. It's not that you're a weak person. It's not that you have no willpower. It's just a reality that you need out sometimes. So that was a big one. The second thing that she mentioned in the interview that I loved was she brought up the term of she realized as she was going on this journey, and still how she lives today, because she's had her second son. She had Harper, her first son, and recently Felix. I think he's about 4 months old. What she realized on Biggest Loser, and she's realized in her life 9 years post Biggest Loser, that she needs to become fluid and flexible, not rigid. You know, you want to have the ability to not be hard and make everything that it's got to be exact and it's got to be perfect, because there's a rigidity there that's easy enough for a person to break. So you want to be more like almost like a piece of bamboo. It's very strong, but bamboo is still flexible. It actually comes from the grass family. So you want to look at, like what she was sharing, being fluid and flexible in all you're doing, whether it's drinking water, eating better, moving, exercising, your thoughts about what's going on. So I think that was a big takeaway. That was number 2. Number 3, I have never heard it said this way before, but I thought it was so powerful when Olivia said that she views her life, her transformation to her well-being as being restoring herself versus a renovation. What she said here, which I thought was kind of interesting, she said, I kind of just like to touch on a quick second kind of an idea, the idea of rest and restoration. I like this kind of view as it's more about renovating something. When you renovate something, you have to tear it down. You have to bust through a wall. And what she's saying is that when you restore something, what she loves about the word restore is it's sort of like you're just taking the time to strip away the layers of it in small ways, and you're taking the time to make it beautiful and valuable again. I think that's just very powerful. It's not about, I've got to renovate my life. I've got to destroy who I was. I've got to break myself down. I think the idea of restoration of your well-being, of your soul, of what you want to do is a much more civilized approach to your well-being, no matter what that is. So that's number 3. Number 4, let me see here, as I'm looking through the pages. What was number 4? I think it was clear here in the back. Oh, number 4, no surprise. Not a word that a lot of people really liked a lot. What she was talking about here was holding yourself accountable. Obviously, Biggest Loser was a classic holding yourself accountable. Let me tell you, when you stand in front of millions of people every single week, it's amazing how you can lose weight on the scale, because there is a real accountability. There is a very visceral, peer-related, everybody knows what's going on in your life, accountability. But what she's talking about is the accountability of actually measuring something, paying attention to it, tracking it. Whether it's an app or whether it's like I do with my smartphone Fit, where I take pictures of everything I eat or how I'm exercising or moving or my calories, macros. For me, that's how it works. I like to take pictures and then I post that. Not that I really care for people to follow it as much as it's an accountability for me. Olivia admittedly said she's old-fashioned. She said that I like to write it down on paper. She said, everything that goes into my mouth goes on a piece of paper. So for her, 9 years later, she knows that for her to be able to continue to have the kind of success that she has had, that the accountability is totally in her lap. She's not weighing in front of a bunch of people all the time. And for her, she will write that down, and it makes it work for her. And they do know, they've done lots of studies, that people that actually track and journal what they're doing are so much more successful than people that just kind of wing it and kind of try to figure it out on their own. So those are the highlights from the Sunday interview with Olivia. You can be able to go to the YouTube channel that I have and get the full interview. And I really recommend that you do, because there's a lot of wonderful gems in between the bigger pieces. And I think it really gives you a great perspective on what you could do, whether you're wanting to lose weight, you're wanting to maintain weight, or you're even in a place that you want to start to explore the possibility of considering it. Sometimes you just need some time to consider what you want to do next. So that's it for today. I look forward to being with you guys in another few days as I come back with another interview. And I will keep you posted as to who that will be. So thanks again for your generosity of time, and see you soon.